In 2017, in his directorial debut, Jordan Peele wowed audiences with the allegorical tale Get Out. Since then, his films have been highly anticipated as the writer-director has created a storytelling style that leaves audiences discussing themes long after the credits roll. In his latest film, Nope, Peele tells the story of two siblings looking to catch the money shot of a UFO. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm leaving the theater. All right. I'm sorry. We're already starting. This is Ronald, and I am leaving the theater after seeing Nope. Nope, written and directed by Jordan Peele, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Keith David, Stephen Yeun, Brandon Perea, probably. I don't have my phone, so I can't list any of the. Yeah, I can't list any of the other cast members. No, because I'll just put it in the show notes. Okay. So it'll be in the show notes, and you all hear that other voice, and you know who that must be. Who is that?
It's your girl, Nic. No last names.
Okay, it's just Nic. Just Nic, no last name. Won't be in the show notes. Won't be anywhere. You'll never find out who this Nic person is again. Okay, so we just saw Jordan Peele's third feature film. The first two being Get Out and Us. This one was Nope, highly anticipated. Lots of looking forward to it. Lots to talk about here. Nic, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I was riveted every single second. I don't understand it, though. I didn't get any of it.
Yeah.
Maybe something about our phones.
Yeah. I have a theory.
Spoiler. Ooh, my bad.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you haven't said anything.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to be careful on spoilers on this one because there's really only one major twist. And we'll talk about that after the credits for Patreon subscribers. Yeah, that's a spoiler. Patreon's coming back. Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. But there's really only one possible spoiler we could talk about, and we'll talk around that. So for me, this is my second time seeing it. Right. Nicole is the fresh one here. I have some pretty solid thoughts after watching it a second time that kind of solidified after seeing it the second time. But when I walked out the first time, I felt the same way you did.
Did you? Okay.
I was like, I like this. And I remember what you said about, you said I didn't get it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's because there's nothing to get this time. And I think it's because if you look at Get Out is a super allegory, right? We're talking about something very specific, and he turns it into a horror film, which is great. But he kind of created a lane for himself, because then if you go watch Us, you watch Us and you spend your whole time being like, okay, what's the twist? What's the twist? And there is none. There really isn't a twist.
I don't think he's trying to say something about, what did I read somewhere? Like the upstairs blacks and the downstairs blacks? What is it, like our code switching? Something.
Maybe. That could be. Yeah. It could be it. I'm saying that that's nothing that he said in an interview. That's nothing. Because with Get Out, he was just like, what are y'all talking about? He's like, it was a documentary. You know what I mean? He's like, there was a lot more solid things he was saying. Whereas with Us, which I still think is a good movie, it doesn't necessarily feel like he took a straightforward path. When I walked into this movie, as soon as I sat down, he drew me in, not because there was a twist coming, not because of anything else. He drew me in with storytelling and performances and cinematography. Yeah. That's what drew me in. And I have a theory over the rest of the movie. But what did you think? Let's talk about storytelling. What did you think?
I mean, there's so much that paid off. Almost every single thing he set up, he paid it off, down to just like Scorpion King. Like offhand mentions get paid off. It's incredible. Like that's an incredible level of like attention to detail, and also just like care for the audience, because you get all this like these little shots of like, ooh, I paid attention and you like gave that back to me. I loved that. I think that like it's such a good movie, even though I don't understand it. I feel like it was really black in the like, Daniel never says that much.
Nope.
Sometimes I'm like, can you say a lot? But I feel like in the ways that they of course there are like the big moments where you're like blackness, but in the small moments of just like, we are in danger, we're not doing a whole monologue. You know what I mean? We're just I see you, like I got you, like that's very black. So it felt like believable characters. The characters were written so believably. The way they behaved was so believable
the whole time.
Like it just is a really, it's so strange to really like a story that you don't understand. But you're right. If I take the allegory and any type of that, whatever out of it, then and just treat it as a Western, then it is like a really fun, unique approach to a Western.
Agreed. Okay, so we'll get there. I'm gonna save that for the end. Performances wise, which you already started talking about, I thought this was one of Daniel Kaluuya's best performances because I think what he does there in his subtleness. I think when you sign him up for a movie, you get that stoicness, that quiet, that stillness, and I think Jordan Peele even said there's a stillness that comes with him that you really appreciate, which I appreciated as well. But I think what I really enjoyed was him having all that forward and the subtlety in it that's played. When in the beginning with the horse scene where he's on set and he's clearly uncomfortable being there. He's clearly uncomfortable being the front man, talking to people. He's comfortable with the animals. He's comfortable taking care of the ranch. He's comfortable doing that. He doesn't want to do the other business side of the stuff. That's harder for him. But here comes his sister, and she's this burst of fresh air, Keke Palmer. She's this burst of fresh air. And she comes in, and as soon as we all see her, we all light up. We're like, oh yeah, Keke's here. Okay. And that's the energy she brings. But then the next level is them interacting with one another. And there's such like a love there that if you don't have a sibling, you might not understand. But if you have a best friend, someone close, there's just like a lot of stuff that doesn't have to be said. And they don't waste time saying it. I think them performing together was excellent. What do you think?
Oh, they're fantastic together. They're so opposite. And you could see how she would drive him out of her mind. Like it's just like, she like, would be grating for a person like that. But he has so much love for her. It's just they are a fantastic acting duo. They have really good chemistry, even though he is barely speaking. And in the beginning, when he is so like uncomfortable in the limelight and the spotlight, and she's just so good at it. And then they go home to the ranch, and then I feel like that's where you really see. You get to see them with like no guard on. Like this is just what it is. She's a little not as at home on the ranch as he is. But he makes her comfortable. He's like, I'll smoke weed. You know what I mean? Like, I'll make you comfortable. Like that. And then when she wants to drink, he like clearly is like, oh, whatever I'm thinking. But she's like, drinking. He's like, okay. Like, he just is like a caretaker without being overbearing about it, or traditionally like a traditional Western hero.
I think, okay, so on the second watch of this, I sat there and watched it, and I was like, he really builds the foundation with just these two characters a lot. Before we know we're sensing danger, we know there's something else coming, but he builds so much foundation with these two characters. And just when we're like enjoying their interaction, they insert a third character who adds another layer who like, and I'm like, yo, where are you getting? I've never seen this guy, Brandon Perea, from anything. And I'm sure like right now all the other listeners are gonna be like, oh yeah, he's in that one obscure Peacock show. You guys will watch that? Whatever. Like tell us where he's from. That's fine. We'll Google it, whatever. But yeah, you bring him in, and he brings a layer of like, it's funny because he kind of pulls them back into almost like an audience. He's almost more like an audience foil in some cases, but also like the tech nerd that's kind of like giving them the resources they need in order to accomplish their goal, which I didn't state. There's an entity that they're trying, not an entity, but there's a something, a saucer, which if you've seen the previews, if you've seen the previews, there's a saucer. They're trying to get a picture of it so that they can get money for it, because the ranch isn't necessarily failing. They're not completely broke, but they need some money. So they're using that. So Brandon Perea comes to the branch, and his name is Angel in the movie, comes to the ranch to help them set up the cameras. What did you think of Brandon?
He was such a smart character to add, because he's the audience. He's our stand-in. He's like the fish out of water new person who comes in. It's like, what's going on? And what they did, which was so smart, is that because to allow the brother and sister to have a really lived-in relationship, they have to have a lot of shorthand.
Yep.
And so now we've got an outsider to interpret the shorthand for us without having to make them be like, as you know, brother, we always set up the camera this way. Like it was so smart because they got to then just stay really true to who they are.
Yep.
But we got to get some information, and everything that he did as well, it didn't feel like, oh, he's the stand-in to make them do exposition.
Yeah.
Everything he did made perfect sense for the character that he was.
100%.
And every way that he inserted himself into the story, it was like, yep, I believe he would do that.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, no, I felt the exact same. I'm like watching him, watching the way, let's like walk over there off the beaten path, but watching the way that he kind of interacted with them, I think you articulated it perfectly, because all of a sudden we have this kind of translator for what probably would have been completely silence or every day.
Yes, it would have been a silent movie of them looking at each other and being like, got it.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I know, exactly.
Which is so real. Like, like that's what your relationship with your sibling would be.
Yes.
Where you're like, jean jacket, you got it, okay.
Yeah.
But we have somebody come in and be like, excuse me, what?
Like, can you explain that again? Like, and I think that was good. I enjoyed watching the build on that performance. I thought was just, it kind of like gave the movie some like serious foundation so that when crazy stuff starts happening, when they start showing us things, I was still in it. Cause I'm like, I felt like I was part of the gang, which I'm like, I don't feel like they do anymore. For this to be a completely original idea. How many Marvel movies are you and I watching? All this. And we got to know all this backstory and all that stuff. And we just sat here, and this is kind of my point. We just sat here and enjoyed a movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just don't get to do that much often because everyone's building out universes. And I don't want to know where this thing flying whatever came from. I don't want to know. And they don't give us a bunch of explanation on it either, which I'm like, yes, oh my God.
Disciplined and interesting, but Jordan is very good at this of like, and this is where people mess up, I think, with horror. And I'm not a horror expert at all, but where people saw what he did with Get Out and tried to imitate it, they turned the camera on white people. And he's like, no. What was powerful about Get Out is we watched black people just navigate the situation. And with this, where you would make a movie like this, and you would be like, oh, we should focus on the thing. That's what everyone always does. He keeps it so hyper focused on like two siblings. It's like ultimately just about their relationship and him seeing her, and there's like all this beautiful stuff. And also there's some stuff in the sky, That's amazing.
Yeah, and then when we get to, by the time, okay, so this is my theory. I think that, and I'm going to say this with as few spoilers as possible, but I don't think, and I'm going to be careful, but I think if you've seen, for people that think this movie is too scary or think it might be too scary, Jaws was considered a horror movie when it came out, and in a lot of ways, this movie has a lot of similarities to Jaws. If you think about it.
I just watched that this weekend.
Okay, the first one. Yeah, okay. So it has a lot of similarities to Jaws, not necessarily in the relationship building, but more of in the relationship between the humors and the thing that they're trying to get a picture of in some cases. And in some cases, a lot of the terror comes from danger more than it comes from them being like in mortal danger as opposed to them being kind of locked in some sort of existential crisis with the thing where it's trying to suck out your soul or anything. They're really just worried about their lives at this one, which I appreciate it. And I think watching it with that mindset, walking into this movie with that mindset, I think you'll enjoy it more rather than walking into this movie trying to think of, like I said, it's not Get Out. It's not Us. It's like a completely different movie. And for those of you that when y'all get to whatever the reveal is in it, if there is one, whatever that is, if you get to that, come back and talk to me and I'll say more about that. But for me personally, I think that's what made it easier for me to just sit there and not need to know a bunch more, because I'm just like, oh, okay, no, I get it. This is a relationship movie about these folks and then them trying to do this task.
I agree on the horror piece. It's not scary. I don't watch anything scary. I'm a super baby. I only suck it up for Jordan.
Yeah.
It was not that at all.
I agree. I only suck it up for Jordan. But I only suck it up for Jordan.
So it's great. So it's not scary. I will say that there are some patterns. Because he is such an intentional storyteller. Down to little throwaway details that are picked up later. There are some patterns that kept happening that make me think that there's something else he was trying to say, in particular with, creatures.
And I'll read the think pieces. We'll read them. I mean, and I'm fine with that. I just think, like, for me, 2 times in, and I'll go a third, 2 times in, I'm just like, yeah, I liked it. Yo, really? We trying to make a podcast here. Wow. Anyway.
Just like every show now.
Every show. Like, we can't stand anywhere. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. But no, I feel like there's something to be said about, there's something to be said about the crafting of the story for him. And then wondering, like, generally, if you think about Jordan Peele and you think about the stuff that he's done in the past, he has a desire to kind of like make things that people enjoy, it seems like, but also make things that people talk about.
Yes,
and think. And I think this one, I don't want to read the think pieces where they're overthinking it.
Yes, agreed. I mean, of course, everyone's going to try to assign it like whatever meaning they really want to, you know?
Yeah.
I like I really do love what you said about maybe it's just a movie about these siblings dealing with this problem on the ranch.
Yeah.
Like, which I have to say, seeing those beautiful shots. So I grew up on Westerns. The movie that got me into old movies was Shane.
Yeah.
I like in the 6th grade, I saw it. It changed everything for me. I loved it. So I love Westerns. Seeing shots like that, but with black people in hoodies.
Yeah.
It's wild. Even hearing her talk the way she talks on a ranch, it just was like, this is really beautiful. I mean, it's beautifully shot.
Yeah. Yes.
So there's going to be all these think pieces, but I think like even just those little moments, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
And
it was shot by the same dude that did, they used to work with Nolan. I'm blanking on his name. Y'all can look it up in the credits. It's in the IMDb link. Yeah. But he worked with Nolan, and he stopped working with them because I think he started doing something else or something, but branched back in and started doing this. So it was shot on IMAX cameras, all that, which makes me want to go to Chantilly and just sit back and enjoy some of those big IMAX shots. Yeah. So I really did enjoy the look of this movie, and I think you're right. Like, there's something about the aesthetic between like seeing black people do this on a ranch, and like just be like he was wearing Jordan t-shirts, like even down to the wardrobe on the ranch. So it's like, for me, it was like they weren't just being like, all right, we're gonna put black people in a cowboy hat, even though there was one cowboy hat and it felt appropriate where it was. If you think about him being the father and having to like play a role in order to get like into the industry or whatever, and you think about the son like getting a little further away from that and doing it for himself, it feels like they nailed it, especially when he's wearing like Jordan t-shirts and trucker hats on the ranch while doing his job, you know?
Yes. I mean, I'm going to stay really far away from spoilers as much as I can here, but there's a shot in the beginning where we've got our traditional hero on the white horse with the white hat on the white horse. That is what you see in Westerns. That's how we know who our hero is. At the end, you know, and then later, whatever, is juxtaposed with a shot of our hero on a black horse. Wearing something that the other hero had got for them in like the dangerous hoodie. Just all black everything. Like, it was just like, ooh, that got me at the end. I was just like, oh, everything he put, he just like picked up every single thing he dropped throughout the story. Yeah,
I think there's something to be said, and I think that's why I enjoy Jordan Peele as a storyteller. And I'm like, because I got up, when I left Nope, I was like, this isn't Get Out, and I don't want to hear Get Out. Like, I know a lot of people are going to say that. It's not Get Out. But I really think that Jordan Peele should be given 100 chances to make 100 movies because as far as I'm concerned, like, he's made 3 good movies. You know what I mean? Like, 2, I mean, I think I was not the biggest fan of Us, but it was still good. You know what I mean? It wasn't bad.
You're right. You're right. I was in. But it's hard for him. He has kind of, you're right, he's in a bit of a bind because you expect it to be like, what are you telling me about the whole entire world now? Like, lay it out for me. And Get Out was so, I was thinking that when I was watching, I was like, Get Out was so clear and direct as to like, this is what I'm talking about. And you could just see it, especially being black. It was just like, oh, I got it. And now you expect that in every movie. I think especially as a black person watching where I'm like, all right, do this for us. Like, shout the stuff we can't say. And that's hard because you don't want to do that every single time. Maybe he wants to talk about something else.
Not only that, I think it would be harmful for him to do it to himself. Because then he would end up like Shyamalan. And M. Night Shyamalan, where we're walking into a movie and we're like, we don't even care about the first 79 minutes of this movie. Get me to the twist, Shyamalan. You know what I mean?
And they're exhausting though. He's made himself a bit of a joke. Because with his twist. You're right. You're right.
So I'm like, and I think Nope breaks him of that. Because I think watching this, when you get to, if there is a reveal, or if there is a twist, who knows? Is there? Who knows? We don't know. If there is a twist, by the time he comes to it, the twist it comes and goes so quickly that I'm like, oh, I didn't even recognize.
Okay.
I was like, okay,
Fine.
oh, okay,
Fine.
okay, yeah. Okay,
But I'm more
sense.
interested in the two of you. Like I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I hope the horses are going to be okay. Like that was like my focus.
No, I love that. Yeah. So I mean, for me, this is a solid 4 stars.
Agreed.
Solid 4-star movie of 5 stars. I want to watch it again. I've already seen it twice. I'm going to see it a third time. 4-star movie. I think you said you agree.
100% it's 4, no question. It's you know what? Might be 4.5.
Okay.
So watchable and it does make me think about some things differently.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to, I mean, everybody's always talking about like, oh, the stories we tell about Black people, but in particular, like how you write character relationships where they feel that lived in, how you can do that in a very smart way.
Yeah.
And then how you can signal, like I think that shot in the beginning on the horse and the shot at the end on the horse were so symbolic.
Yeah.
And it worked because he dropped these little things all through just a story. I think he's such a brilliant storyteller. So it's a 4.5.
Okay. So we'll average it at 4.25 of 5 stars, and I'm fine with that. With that, Leaving the Theater is a production of OhitsBigRon Studios. The show is mixed by Thomas Tyra of Bias Studios. Thank you, Thomas. Show art from Katie Helm. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. To find out more information about Nic Hill or Nope, check our show notes for details. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at OhitsBigRon. That's at OhitsBigRon. You can find out more about this show and other OhitsBigRon Studios shows by following us on Instagram at OhitsBigRon Studios and on Twitter at OhitsBigRon Stew. That's STEW. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening. It is nice out.
Yeah.
Check. This is check. All right, so this is how I normally talk at this volume. Really? Yeah, I'm going to get this right this time. Yeah, Tom. All right, check. This is Ronald. All right, here we go.